I don't, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to say too much, bro. Let me call Cauttyh right now. Yo,
What's up, dude? How you doing?
I'm good. Are you? I'm good.
I'm doing good, man.
Freaking cold out here, man. Snowing and shit.
Oh, actually, same here. It's cold as shit, dude. Wait, where are you?
Boston.
Oh, wait, that's sick.
Yeah.
So, oh, sorry, what's up?
I've been here like 15 years now.
Oh, really? That's sick.
Yeah.
I've actually never been to Boston. I always wanted to check it out.
Yeah, I want to go to Canada.
Canada's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Honestly, Canada, besides Quebec, Canada's like very much like America. Except Quebec. Quebec is kind of like a little old looking because they just like hate the English for so long. So
There's a lot of people in Quebec, though, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's probably like Mr. 4K is a little bit. Hold on, let me bring him up. Is that better, guys? Mr. 4K, did you say something?
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
I think this probably is better, right?
Yeah.
I think it should be good. I don't think he's too loud like this. It's cool as fuck out in Toronto. Yeah, I feel like we've been getting like a massive like I don't know, what do you call that, wind chill? I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But all right. So how do you want to start this?
You can share your screen on Discord, and then I'll just capture your screen that way, you know.
Cool.
And then we just go by the topics. We do the evolution, we do the enlightenment, and at the end we can actually just go with the Q&A.
Cool. That works.
Let me make sure to put this right here. Guys, you guys already know the drill. You guys already know how it is. I'm pretty sure you guys know him already. We start with the shoutouts always. We're gonna have the Glaivier guide interview right now with Mr. Cauttyh.
Hey guys, it's Cauttyh here. I play Glaive. Did you want to combine chats, by the way?
How I don't know how to do that.
Here, let me do it.
You know, I don't know how to.
Yes, I should be able to.
Oh, so you're able to put it on your side, right? On the right side?
Well, just make it that both our chat rooms are mixed. So if you want to read chat and stuff, if you want to ask questions, it's easier for you.
Yeah.
Actually, how do I send out a thing? Hold on.
That'd be nice.
No.
I'm kind of into all this, you know.
Where is ask to join stream anytime? Is that what this is? Yeah. Okay, so you're gonna get a request now. It's gonna be like, you know where you redeem your on the Twitch page.
Yeah, I got it.
Like notification. Oh, you got it. Perfect.
Get started, right?
Combine those. Yeah, and then do where is this?
Allow while visiting the site. Allow this time.
Must be live in order. There we go. Then we start sharing chats. There we go. And our terms are shared.
Okay, so wait.
Oh, I'll mute myself into thing. Here we go. Mute the audio. There we go. All right, perfect.
Oh shit! So both chats are on both places.
Yeah, exactly. And you see a little icon next to who's from who's chat. Hey boys, how you doing?
Wait, what the hell? This is fucking.
It makes it better when you're streaming people, so you could like actually like share you share chats and you could just hot mic together.
Hey, what's going on today? That's huge, bro. What the hell? What's going on, guys? How's everything? All right.
Hello.
Before we start everything, I'm gonna ask you a real question about Glaivier because I know you've been playing Glaivier since day one. How do you feel? Because Glaivier is a class that's been going on a long way. You know, it was bad, it was good, it was bad. How you feel on tier 4? You think it's way better now with the changes?
I think it's. I don't know how strong it is because we don't have versus yet.
Yeah.
But I think Glaive was probably going to be like probably one of the strongest classes.
Interesting.
Yeah, like right now, when I look at my like damage compared to like if I compare my damage to people who are like I don't know, like parse goblins and are also playing meta classes, my damage is usually around theirs or slightly lower, and they're like better players than I am. And so once we get bracelets, I think Glaive is probably gonna like pop off because right now the current build you're playing is a little bit scuffed because our T skill doesn't do any damage right now, and it still does a shit ton of damage.
It's funny because I remember people crying in KR. I'm not gonna say no names, saying that the class was bad. This is this.
It's a bit. Well, the thing is, it was a bit awkward to get used to new rotation because the thing is, you have this thing. You have to like self buff yourself. You have to buff yourself now, and it used to have an animation. So the version that we got was like already a lot better because before you used to have this self buff you have to put on yourself. You switch stances,
yeah,
and then let's say on the skill that you want to buff, you have to click your X. and then you buff your skill as you send it out. But it used to have an animation. It used to not have paralysis immunity, and so it could be interrupted. It was really shit. It was very, very bad when it came out.
Ah.
But we got like the super like quality of life added. Like everything was like nice and smooth by the time we got it.
Okay, that makes sense then, man. That makes
Yeah.
sense. They were probably experiencing something that we're not
Yeah,
experiencing.
yeah, it's weird. Also, I do agree with you, Beamer. Pressing X it doesn't make any sense because you only buff 2 skills. You want to buff this, or I guess 3. You buff this if it's up, or you buff this. There isn't anything else. So like, it should just like intuitively buff those 3 skills because you don't buff anything else anyway. It's very weird.
Nice. Wait, is Cauttyh supposed to be a Glaivier teacher?
Bro, why are you spamming all? I mean, shit, honestly.
Why y'all roasting him? What happened?
That's good as my boys do. So I guess we'll start with the arc passives.
Yeah.
We'll do arc passive stuff first. So actually, I can open it here. There's 2 like major builds. I'll start with the meta one, like what you're going to end up playing like once you're geared. Actually, maybe I should pick the early one first. So early on, if you're like in tier 3, you're going to play spec crit. Tier 3 is very simple, actually. I guess I can't really show it in here, but it's going to be straightforward. You're going to play spec crit, and then you're going to run your 5 engravings is going to be your pinnacle. You kind of have to run adrenaline. You're going to run ambush master, grudge, and then raid captain. And then once you go into tier 4, you're going to still be playing spec crit. Actually, I don't know. With the new arc passive system, this might not be relevant. Because with new arc passives, I don't know how many points you get in Evo tree. But anyways, we'll just go with the build at the beginning. You have the spec crit, where you put 30 points in the spec, 10 points in the crit. And then in your tree will look something like this, where you're going to grab strike for crit rate. And then you're going to take either standing striker or mana furnace. I actually don't know if mana furnace ooms you. I don't think it will on Glaive, because I actually never played the full version of this build, because there's not really a point to. But usually the original build will look something like this. It'll either look like this.
Interesting, right away.
Or it'll look like this. Mana furnace or MP furnace is like better, but I don't know if it makes you run out of mana because it makes your skills cost more. But honestly, guys, if you're gonna play Glaive, don't play this build. Okay, this build's cringe.
For real?
It actually is just stinky. Yeah. The other build is just so much better. If you just play this as the meta build that I'm playing right now, you play Spec Swift, and then you're gonna take. Wait, why is it not? Oh yeah, okay, I didn't put all points in. Whoopsie. You're gonna put 3 points into limit break. You're gonna put 2 points into unlimited magic, and then you're gonna put into blunt spike.
Interesting.
Or blunt thorn, because Glaive has like a benefit where a lot of classes that run blunt thorn have to sacrifice a lot to get this crit to like actually make this work. But Glaivier gets it for free. We have to sacrifice on our tripods. Like we have where is this shit? Oh, here. Okay, I'm not used to this UI. So we have guaranteed crit on all, like pretty much every single skill in our kit. And so we do sacrifice some damage because of the fact that we have to run guaranteed crit tripods, but we don't, it's how to explain it. How much we sacrifice is a lot less than how much we gain from it, because essentially with these tripods and the fact that you're playing entropy, so you're going to get back attacks, so you have 10% crit.
Right.
And then with 1 crit synergy, you essentially don't have to take any crit in arc passives. And so you're able to build arc passives.
Oh, that's why you have it with swiftness instead, huh?
Yeah, exactly. That's with swiftness, because you don't need any crit.
Interesting, so bro. That's big.
Your abilities are up more often. Yeah, it actually just feels a lot better. It feels more like how old Glaive was, where you don't have as much downtime on your rotation. You still do have it.
Yeah.
But it's just way smoother. You're faster. All of your skills are better. It's easier to greed, because like even like some of the tripod changes you have to play for the spec crit build are kind of ass. Like let's say in Starfall Pounce, okay? When you're playing spec crit, this is what your Starfall Pounce looks like. Okay? It's very, very slow, and you have to let both of those things come out, right?
Right.
But if you're playing the new one, like the spec Swift, you're chilling. You get in, you do this, and then you can cancel right out of that. You can space bar out.
Oh, I see the animation, yeah.
Yeah, like the damage is out immediately, and so you can greed with it. You get your damage, and then you can either cancel into another red skill, or you can just spacebar. Like, let's say if you're greeting something where you'll die if you stay in it, you can like hit it, and then you could like you land, do this, and you're out. It's like massive distance out, right? It's like pretty big.
Yeah, that's big. Not a lot of classes can do that, especially with this skill too.
Yeah, exactly. So in general, I would say I don't know what it's gonna look like once we have the full arc passives for everybody, but I would recommend the spec swiftness build. I would not recommend playing the old version. It's kind of rough.
Interesting. That's actually really good, bro.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure the other build is the one that most people are gonna be using, and they're missing out.
Right now, when they until they transfer, once you get your you could, I think it's like 3 pieces. Once you have 3 pieces of gear, you can switch to this build, because even Bluntthorn 1,
Yeah.
I think, is slightly less damage than MP Furnace, but it's just, I don't know. I just prefer it much more. So to structure it, I guess we'll go over the full crit spec first, and then I'll do spec Swift afterwards, just so it's easier for you to like navigate this, because I'm kind of ADHD. So crit spec will look like this. You'll do this into this, because I don't even think this build is on the Glaivier guide anymore. I don't think it exists. So this is what your build would look like when you're playing spec crit.
Oh, that's what they had before.
Yeah, this was what people were running before. So you would run something like this.
Right.
For your Enlightenment tree, if you're 1680, you're going to take this Yawn style mark as your extra node. But if you're not 1680, you have to take Power Stab. This is more damage if you can use it. But what this does is that it allows the pretty much whenever you apply your self buff, whenever you're using your skills, and you press your X, and I have this buff here, the Yawn style Encore, it puts a damage buff on the boss. Like, you do more damage to it. So it's worth it. But the arc passes are kind of weird. You technically have access to this node without being 1680, so you can't use it if you're not 1680. So if you're 1660 or 60 below 1680, you use this Power Stab. If you're above 1680, then you use this Yawn style mark.
Yeah, everything changes in 1680, right? Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's just like a weird thing.
This one does the most damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, roasting Cauttyh. Yeah, your shot is crazy. But
Wait, this one does the most damage? What do you mean?
No. There was somebody else that said, shout out from Mr. 4K. Shout out. We have a tradition here where we make fun of Cauttyh for being a Fury.
No, my chat are all Fury. The thing is that Mr. 4K, they're furries, but they're closeted about it. You know what I mean?
They don't want to
say about being furries. You know what I'm saying? They're little shy girls about it. You know what I'm saying?
That one does the most damage. Jumps.
And then leap. Oh shit! I forgot you could test these out now. For your leap tree, this is the same for both. You're just gonna run Unleash Power and Transcendent Power.
Okay. So that one is straightforward. Yeah. It's not like because I've seen some other builds where you have to like 1 point a year, 2 point a year.
So the only ones, the way the whole leap tree works in general is if your class is mana stable and you don't need to cool down your hyper technique. If you don't want to, like, pretty much if like for Glaive, let's say, I don't have to reduce the cooldown of my T skill because it will desync out of my rotation, so you don't take it. So if you're in one of those classes where like you don't need your T skill to be lower cooldown,
right?
Then you take damage on T skill, damage on Hyper Awakening.
That's Giga smart, yeah.
Yeah. And then if you're a class that needs mana, like your T skill costs an insane amount of mana and you can't sustain without it,
yeah,
then you have to build something like this. You do this,
right. I think classes
and this, something like that. And then if you're a class that you want your T skill to be up as much as possible, then you just do this. You pretty much always take this, and then everything else is kind of like depending on what the class does. But Glaive is very simple. You take Transient Power, and then for Spec Crit, I actually don't know what second node you would take for Brawl. I'm going to be honest, because this is not the build I'm going to play. I only know the second node you would take for the Spec Swift. You would take this for Spec Swift. But if I was playing Spec Crit, I would assume that, but a total of 25% damage, no longer dashes. If I had to guess, I don't know. Pick whichever one looks the cutest. I'm going to be honest. Spec Crit, if you're playing that, you're just putting it down.
I did it hands.
And then... And then for tripods, it's super simple. For Spec Crit, you're going to take you don't want to take any guaranteed crit tripods. So your Starfall, you take Ground Explosion. The second line is up to you. You can just take Concussion if you want. It doesn't really matter what you take here because there's not technically something that's better. Concussion is nice if you're doing Stagger, I guess, but you don't want to send your Starfall into any Stagger that is DR'd, right? For your Red Dragonhorn, you're just going to take Determination, and then same thing, weak point detection. Thrust, you're still going to take Thrust of Destruction. Thrust stays actually the same because you just want to crit this. This stays guaranteed crit, and same with Four-Headed. This stays the same as well. Some people like taking Valen Thrust. It turns your Four-Headed Dragon into a hold skill, but apparently Shadow Thrust is better because it allows you to act earlier. So when you use Shadow Thrust, your Four-Headed Dragon does this. So you see how it's on the floor?
Right.
I could click it and I could immediately do
Oh
something. I
wow.
can do this into a cancel into other shit, right? So
What?
opposed to if I take this,
The one that does
I
like
actually have to sit there
right,
and
right,
use
right,
it.
right. That's what I use.
Yeah.
But
So it's you end up this one's not bad either because it is good for like repositioning and stuff, but like it's just better to be able to just like drop it and then go into your next action so everything is going on cooldown faster and so you're like
damn.
overall doing more damage.
You got shot low
Um
key. What the fuck?
I didn't know about that either. I was using the violent thrust for a
Yeah,
long
yeah,
time.
yeah,
And then
yeah,
I
yeah.
I tried the other one and I'm like, oh shit, it's actually pretty good.
And it looks cooler
Uh
too.
for blue skills, so this for the crit spec build or spec crit, it doesn't matter as much what your filler skill is. Personally, when I was playing crit spec, I preferred double strike. I would put double strike where my wind splitter is,
Mm.
and I would put where is it? Here, chain slash. I would put 4 points into chain slash, and I would take swoop for where my soul cutter is. It doesn't really matter what you take. It's mainly what I would use is I would put a quick recharge on double strike, and then my chain slash I would use it as like a movement skill because you could if you swap this out. Let's say I put this over soul cutter, and I'll take some points off for now just so I can put points in here. Swoop lets you kind of saves your ass a lot because you get this like it's not movement positive. You're not getting more like running gives you more movement, but if you're like greeting something like down to like the last second, sometimes you can like hit this,
Wow.
and so it'll give you that little bit of extra
Yeah,
just to
yeah.
get out of
The distance.
out of the way. Yeah, exactly. And then same with double hit because again your filler skills don't really matter for
Right.
spec crit. I liked this just because it was I didn't save it. I like double hit because super short animation, super short cooldown. You slap a quick recharge rune on that, and so while you're waiting for your rotation to come off cooldown, you can just spam it. It keeps your adrenaline up. Like it's just like a good short animation skill that has a
Smart, bro.
short cooldown, and you're not locked in place because a lot of people were using
That's smart.
where is this? They were using cutting wind. Cutting wind I find is terrible because without any tripods in it, look how long this is.
I know that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Just
I use that.
sitting
I
there
use that on
forever.
kills, don't you?
Yeah, just a chaos engine skill. But some people had it as like a filler skill because the career guides had it, but I thought it was fucking terrible.
Mm.
But same thing with I didn't go over the tripods. Your blues again, everything stays pretty much the same. The only thing you would change here is your half moon slash goes on final decision, and your chasing slash, and you would use chasing slash instead of blade tornado. Also, there's a damage distribution difference. For spec crit, your half moon slash is actually like your third highest damage skill. So if you're playing spec crit build, this is actually like a pretty big damage skill for you. It's like your third or fourth highest damage.
Oh, that one?
Yeah, and your raging dragon slash is your lowest.
Interesting.
Whereas if you're playing spec swift, it's the opposite.
Oh
Well,
shit! Yeah. So I
but
always
this one's a bit
thought that
higher.
one was the yeah. Oh, interesting.
So that was the old build.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
This is a build you
okay.
guys probably know about, but we'll switch it now into the new stuff. So for spec swift, your arc passes are gonna look completely different.
It's crazy
So,
how it changes from because of the points on the stats.
yeah, it actually
Interesting.
is nuts. It's a whole different playstyle. The rotation's completely. Oh wait, I should probably show the rotation for the old.
No, we can leave it at the end. That's my favorite. That's the
Oh, do that, yeah. Okay, yeah, that works.
yeah.
Yeah, that works. That works. So spec swift, you're gonna put 30 points into spec, 10 into swift. You're gonna take limit break. You're gonna take unlimited magic, and then you're gonna take blunt spike.
Yeah.
If you don't have a crit synergy, if you really want to be min max, you have to take 1 point out of unlimited magic and put it into strike because you need a crit synergy to make the build. Like you're pretty much blunt thorn requires 119% crit rate, and the only way you hit 119 without taking strike is you need a crit synergy.
Mm.
I personally never swap it. I am way too fucking lazy.
Yeah, I hate you, bro.
But it's worth mentioning. But honestly, just always take a crit synergy. I mean, every class wants one. I'm gonna be honest, guys. Like every class in the game needs crits. So it's like besides like a Cerebraker.
even the crit synergies themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Even crit sin classes need a crit sin because they don't crit. So it's especially now everyone's running blunt thorn. It's like everybody just needs crit. It's actually crazy. You know what I mean? So this is what your Evo tree looks like. Enlightenment, exact same thing. Nothing changes here. Same thing as before. Yawn style if you're 1680. Power stab if you're below. And then leap tree, exact same. All the stuff stays the exact same. Your tripods, like I mentioned before.
Yeah.
your red skills are all going to be on the crit synergies. So make sure you have Vital Point here. Your Starfall has to be on Powerful Finish. Put that there. And then also another thing that's important, because this build has a lot more uptime, this only really matters at 1680, but the way your 1680 skill works is you click X and it consumes a bar, okay? You consume an insane amount of meter in this build.
Interesting.
So as you'll notice, I actually have Wealth Runes equipped, and you actually take firepower control tripods. It's actually like a lot of meter that you use. So on your Starfall, you actually do need to take firepower control.
Interesting.
Red Dragon, you're going to take your Spear of Destruction. Thrust, you're going to take the same thing as before. This stays the exact same. However, your blue skills now actually matter in this build. You no longer really have filler skills. You have to take Wind Splitter because the way the rotation works is you're going to be opening with red this time, and you don't open with your crit synergy because your personal crit synergy now is you have to use it on blue skills.
What?
And so yeah, it's completely different. Because you have guaranteed crit on reds, right? Your reds are all guaranteed and your blues aren't.
Oh wow.
So you crits in like how it used to be for your blue skills. And so because of that, in order to do your opener, you have to apply your own personal synergy, right? Your crit damage sin. So you take Wind Splitter, and then you take where's the other one? And then you take Soul Cutter. This Soul Cutter also needs to have dual meter. It needs firepower control tripod in it, and you need a Wealth Rune in it. It's very, very important. And then your tripods in general not your tripods, sorry, your runes are not that complicated. Quick recharge on spiraling like usually would. Gale Winds on your damage skills. Starfall gets a Wealth Rune. Soul Cutter gets a Wealth Rune, and Shackling gets a Wealth Rune. If you have 2 purple wealths, which I don't, but I should, but I am too lazy to get it, you would put a purple wealth on your Shackling. For Raging Dragon Slash, I like to put Vision just because it's like a mixture between Stagger and Cast Speed. I kind of like a little bit of extra of both. And one thing that's kind of like more of a to taste thing, like it's up to you. Some people will take the quick recharge off of Spiraling and they'll put Mountain. Is it in here? Mountain's Face. They'll put Mountain's Face on top of Dragon Scale Defense. I personally don't use this. I would rather have cooldown like quick recharge. But if you do use this, can I get this out of here if I click replace maybe? Hello? Nice. Yeah. All right. So if you do put it in put Mountain's Face, what this does is that it slows your cast speed. And so you put it on your parry so that way you get a bigger shield and it
stay a little longer.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of like it depends on what you want. I don't use it because I don't feel like it's worth.
Yeah.
But if you struggle with landing your parries and stuff, I think it definitely is
for beginners, guys.
Yeah, or even I'm gonna be honest, dude. Like if I was doing like I don't know, if I was pulling for Deathless or something, I would run it.
Like, smart, yeah.
Like, or you're doing progression, like anything where it's like there's more risk. Because the thing is, quick recharge, it doesn't proc that often. So it's not like you're like losing out on, crazy DPS. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, if you miss a what's it called, a Dragon Skill defense, like if you miss your parry, you're losing a ton of damage. So it's not like a bad tripod or a bad rune to take. Is there anything else to mention? Oh yeah, so now your blue skills, everything stays pretty much the same except your Raging Dragon Slash. You're going to be taking crit instead of CDR, and then Half Moon Slash. You're going to get off of Final Decision. You're going to go on to Vital Point and Blade Tornado. So these are your new. I could have sworn this had are the runes bugged? I could have sworn this had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I don't want to cut you off, but I want to say something. For the ones that are watching the video, guys, make sure that what he's explaining, he's playing both builds, right? Depending if you're going to go crit or swiftness. And depending if you're going to go crit or swiftness, you're going to be changing the tripods, okay? So make sure that you're paying attention, and don't be putting the tripods on the crit on the swiftness and the swiftness on the crit, because it's just not going to work out, right?
Yeah, it won't. You have to make sure everything is on full crit. Pretty much, whatever tripod gives you crit rate, you're going to take crit rate on every single tripod because you have to max it out. It's super easy to. It's very, very like straightforward. If you're playing this build, you have to have crit on everything. Otherwise, the build won't function.
Making sure voice. All right.
So when you play this build too, like I said, the damage distribution changes. Your Half Moon Slash is now your big skill, your Raging Dragon Slash is your big skill, and Half Moon Slash is just like it just builds meter. It's just a skill that builds meter for you, so you can just buff your Half Moon Slash.
Mm.
Is there anything to mention? I think that's it. Oh, it's bugged the stats, but that's because we're in
Yeah,
Trace Lock.
2,000.
Oh yeah, engravings. So usually, if you were playing spec crit, you would be running ambush, raid, cursed all, grudge, and adrenaline. But because we're playing spec swiftness and we don't need any crit, this spot can be either MP efficiency or it can be mass increase. Just pretty much anything that gives bonus damage. MP efficiency is kind of nice just because it's a cheap book. So if you want to buy a relic book early,
Right.
it's just, you know what I mean? It's just free damage essentially, right? It's a lot cheaper than everything else. But I run MP efficiency just to make it way cheaper.
This is no other build.
Yeah, this is, and that's the other thing too. If you do play it, like I play multiple glaives, if you are somebody who does end up playing like 6 of the same class or whatever,
you got 3 already.
you know,
Nice.
well, yeah, I got a lot.
Damn.
You don't have to buy these bad boys because these are a little expensive. You know what I'm saying? Like not having, like saving on this is actually pretty big, so it's kind of nice. I think that's it.
And the gems.
Oh yeah, gems. Oh, and there's one more thing too for arc passives. So for this build, I don't know how many leap points we're gonna end up getting when we're in once we get Brel, but you need to absolutely put 1 point into this. This skill allows your T skill to get guaranteed crit. We're gonna be getting 30. Okay, so we're gonna be able to max it out.
Oh.
So you're just gonna put all 3 points in here, I would assume. I can't imagine you're gonna put it anywhere else. But I could be wrong. This I have to like experiment with it when it comes out. But at least 1 point in this is crucial because this allows your T skill to function with the build. Right now, my T skill usually, so my T skill hits either for 100 mil usually, but it's supposed to be hitting for like 1.2, like 1.3 billion. It should be hitting like really, really high. But that's only when it crits because there's no natural crit in my build. My T skill is it's at like 20% crit or something. It's like extremely low, right? I have no adrenaline. I have no like there's nothing buffing it, right? So it's pretty much a dead skill as it stands. But whenever bracelets come out, it is super crucial. Yeah, it's gonna be massive. It's gonna be very important to put that point in there like immediately. I believe 1680s can get this point with just bracelet. But anyone below 1680, you have to do a week of brochures. I think you just do gate 1. And then a bracelet plus the first level of karma will get you this point. Because karma, I believe you do 1 point of leap, then you max out enlightenment, and then you max out leap, and then you max out evo is like the meta for it or whatever. So just make sure it's like if you guys are progging Brel on Glaive, it's worth backing out to get this point because you're like your T skill is usually your second highest damage skill in the spec crit version, and I would assume it'll be the same thing in this build as well. It is insanely high damage. Yeah, Captain Jack's T skill hits for 5 to 6 bill every 30 seconds. Yeah, it's very, very, very strong. I'm telling you, I know I'm gonna get flamed or memed, but I'm telling you, I think Glaive is gonna end up being like very meta once we get that. Because like right now, I'm doing the same damage as everybody else, but I'm literally not using a T skill. Like that's a huge damage loss, right?
The shotty hater with the Glaivier.
I'm just saying, bro. Like, listen, they're believers, you know what I'm saying? But they're gonna see.
They hate it. Jesus Christ. They hate the Glaivier,
huh? It's okay.
Just kidding.
Glaive is kind of a meme class. I mean, there's a chance it gets nerfed before we even get Brawl. I'm gonna be honest, guys. The patch notes could come out tomorrow where they just nerf the class into the floor and it's just dead, you know?
But you're saying Nessa Express Fast, you sit on Glaive? Of course.
Wait, what?
And the Nessa Express Fast, you sit on Glaivier.
Yeah, actually. Honestly, though, it actually is worth. Like, Glaive is a really fun class. I
love it, bro. I love it.
Yeah, it's a fun class. It's snappy. It can do things that other. I mean, I guess it's all classes, but having the shielded parry really gives the class a lot
especially
of
if you know how to use it.
Yeah, exactly. And you have so much utility. Like you have okay stagger. A stagger kind of got nuked pretty hard, but you have like counter. You have a ton of weak point. Like you just have a ton of movement, right? So you have like I don't know. I feel like it's like a really useful class. It's great for prog. It's great in reclear. It's just really bad if there is a bad back attack entropy gate. Glaive is like one of the worst classes for those kinds of fights because you have I mean like this is what the you know what I mean like you are doing this so like you're charging up back attacks which doesn't feel the best, right? So for gems it's pretty straightforward. So Glaive in general has one dead gem always. It's always been this way for some reason.
Yeah.
I'll go through like each thing. All your red skills is going to be cooldown damage on every single thing. Okay. The CDR gems have to sort of line up a little bit. If let's say you're just rolling your own gems,
Those are nice
until you
gems, by
get
the way.
CDR, thank you.
That's a nice gem, bro.
This is like me collecting souls of people who quit, and also like I melted down.
I don't
Like
blame
as I
you.
moved alts out, I put everything onto glaive gems.
I don't blame.
Your red CDR gems have to line up together. I don't think if like with the new gem system, like I don't know if let's say put like a level 9 where it enters a level 8, I don't know if it'll desync, but the cooldowns, if you guys notice this, like the cooldowns all harmonize together.
Right.
They're all a second apart, right?
Right. That's perfect.
So like these skills having the same CDR gems is big. So you want damage cooldown for all reds, including four-headed, but that one's kind of optional, I guess. And then you want damage for Raging Dragon Slash and damage cooldown for Half Moon Slash. Now, the reason why I say it's optional is, as you guys notice here, I'm lying to you. I don't have a cooldown gem for this, right? It's on Raging Dragon Slash. Eventually, I'll switch it, but it doesn't really fucking matter. Glaive just has a dead gem. You can put it on Raging Dragon Slash. You can put it on Forehead. You can put it on what the fuck ever. Yeah, it's just kind of dead. Although I will say, the Korean guides say to put it on Forehead, but I don't think that's right because I have it on Raging Dragon Slash, and sometimes my Raging Dragon Slash it's desynced, and so it'll be like right now it's sharing a cooldown, right? It's 2 seconds apart.
Yeah.
But eventually that it starts to like build up and it'll desync from your shackling. So I don't think, because you're not taking the cooldown tripod on this anymore, I do think it's better to put it on Raging in general. But yeah, just put it on Raging because Forehead is never not up. It doesn't really need a cooldown gem. So I just left on that because I was lazy. But actually looking at it now, I probably will not switch it because you actually do run into situations where you're waiting for Raging Dragon Slash. You're never waiting for Forehead. Forehead is always up. So
always up.
Yeah. It's on Half Moon. You take it off Half Moon. Oh, is it Half Moon? That's too short. So you take it off Half Moon and you put on Forehead. Okay, so Half Moon slash cooldown is the dead gem.
Oh, okay.
Again, so Glaive has a dead gem. It's on Half Moon. You could put it on Forehead if you want, but it
would not make that much.
I can't imagine it makes a difference. It's like save your silver, I guess. It's all the same shit, to be honest. So that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, by the way, both specs use the same gems. That's another thing to mention too. Although crit spec probably wants this. Like you probably don't want to put a cooldown on Forehead. Crit spec, you probably want to do this exact gem build, but yeah, you end up with a dead gem here instead on the crit spec because this skill has you take the quick prep tripod on it. But hopefully that was not too erratic.
No, that's pretty. No, that's pretty straightforward. That's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty straightforward.
Should we go into the rotation?
The Awakening, Heartfelt Awakening.
Oh yeah, the Hyper Awakening. So for both specs, rotation. You're using the same thing. You're going to be using obviously use your T skill. You're using the red T skill. The blue one does absolutely nothing. Even though without bracelets, your red skill does almost nothing. It's still, even if it hits all white numbers, hits harder than blue. And in the off chance that it crits, it does like over 1 billion. So you take this thing. You always take the red one. Hyper, it doesn't really matter which one you take. Technically, I take Yawn style, whatever, just because this Awakening, a lot, when you throw it, you're able to do stuff afterwards. Like as it's doing his damage, you can then like take control of your character and like do stuff again, right? So it's just technically better. But
the other one you cannot, yeah, because you stay like bam, 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 bam.
Yeah, and also it looks kind of goofy. Like I will say this one just looks like the Hyper looks kind of goofy. So if you really don't like the animation, you can like swap it out if you want, but it doesn't really make sense. The other one you have to like hold and sit there. It's kind of like, I could show you guys what it looks like.
Right. I used the red one.
That was the one we used to use, but it's just not. I don't really feel like it's worth it now because you're just locked into it.
Right.
Also, in current content gets cleared so fast. You're never really using your Awakening anyways. You're always saving for Hyper. Like every boss dies so fast, you don't have time to like. Yeah, you don't have time to like Awakening then Hyper. If you use your Awakening, you've lost your Hyper essentially by the time like the boss will die. So. Dan thought that was fixed. No, that it's still bugged. So yeah, red T skill, red, and then blue Hyper is what you're going to want to use.
My brother.
And we'll go through both rotations.
This is my favorite part, by the way. This is always I always leave rotation by the end, guys, because I feel like this is the most important thing in the classes. You can agree to disagree, but this is definitely the best. If you know how to do your rotation without looking at the bars, GG, boys.
I'm going to be honest, guys. As you first transition into it, like I still, because I play multiple glaives, One of my glaives is still on the old rotation, and I just mess up both. Right now, I'm messing up both rotations because
damn, that's
swapping
the
back and
worst.
forth is messing up my like my brain's like what's that word? Like I can't download it. It's so weird. Anyways, we'll do the spec crit rotation first. This is the classic one. You guys should know it. In this build, you're going to be using your shackling to buff your red skills. The red skills are going to look a little different, by the way, guys. So I'm not going to switch the tripods back and forth, but it's essentially the same idea. So
it's huge.
you're going to shackling into your swap. This starfall have to always come out together. Then thrust, forehead. I always throw out one of these, and then you use your half moon, and then your Raging Dragon Slash is last because that's your lowest damage skill. So that's just pretty much your rotation. And then you would just spam your, while you're waiting for rotation to come up, you just spam your skills waiting for your, pretty much whenever shackling is up, unless you messed up.
Most
like,
of the time the red is going to be up too, right?
Yeah. Also, you want to use your deadly, whenever your T skill is up, your T skill takes priority.
Slaps.
One thing I will say though, for me, if the boss is a CC'd, and this is not technically, this is, I'm sure mathematically it's probably less damage, but when you do your rotation like this, where you T skill first, okay, and then you do this, what ends up happening is that these skills are like 3 or 4 seconds off of the cooldown of your shackling, and it's kind of annoying. Usually 99% of the time that's what you want to do, because you're always prioritizing the like damage value. So you go from highest damage to lowest damage in your rotation, right? But let's say you're fighting like a Echidna, and she just got out of mirror mechanic, and she's like CC'd for a couple of seconds, and you can get a full rotation not moving.
Right.
I personally prefer to do my rotation like this with my T skill up, because what this does is that it doesn't fuck with the cooldowns of my skills. Because now even though my thrust is desynced from my Starfall and Red Dragonhorn, because it takes so long to do your Red Dragonhorn and your Starfall, your thrust will not be delayed. But if you use this first, it is going to desync the rotation, so you have to wait a little bit. It's just kind of like a feeling thing. It's, I'm sure, less damage, because the way the game works is that you have to always put your biggest damage skill on cooldown as fast as possible. So, but it's not, I don't think it's big enough that it matters. I think it's just more of a comfort thing. Like, if you guys want to just be aware of that.
Situational, boys.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of what you prefer. But technically, it's objectively better to just always, the second your T skill is up, it has to be T into your Red Dragon, into Starfall, into Thrust, into Forehead, a little thing here, and then you have your Half Moon, and then Raging Dragon Slash, and that's always what's going to be like. But that's the old rotation. The new one is totally different. So let's say you're going into a fight and you don't have any meter at all. Okay, you have zero meter. Right. You actually need meter. Actually, this is the build in general. At 1680, you need meter, because you have to buff the skill you're going to use. Okay. Right. So if you go into a fight with no meter, the way you're going to actually start the fight is you're going to go in and Soul Cutter, right? You're going to Soul Cutter into your synergy, and then you swap, and then you're going to be able to do your shit. So the swiftness, the swiftness rotation.
Without using the shackle.
Yeah, you know shackling.
Oh, wow.
So swiftness, let's say I have 0 meter. I'm going to go in,
think I just know
hit this, my synergy, forehead first, then you buff yourself.
Interesting.
Red Dragon, Thrust, Starfall, this. And here, actually, I forgot to buff myself. I fucked it up, but
okay.
You actually send the Red Dragon Horn last, just because it doesn't matter once you're at max meter, it doesn't really matter as much, the rotation. But if you're starting a fresh fight with no meter, you have to send your Half Moon first to make sure you have enough meter to buff your Raging Dragon Slash. Wow. And then after that, once the fight is normal, you're pretty much just waiting it out, waiting for your cooldowns to come up. But usually it looks something like this. We'll do, oh no, that's wrong already. So you get into a fight, and this is what the rotation looks like. Synergy, Forehead, Red Dragon, Thrust, Starfall, this thing, crit, this, buff again, Red Dragon Horn, and then you could go back over, and this is going to be up in like 5 seconds. And you could send this, and then you send your red rotation when it's back again. Another thing you can do too, and this is more important right now, it's not as important in the future, is because you're like, let's say you're crit buffing your blue skills, right? But you still are going to have a bunch of blue buff left over. While that buff is up, you could do this. You can do this, send this shit out, and then you swap and send your T skill right away. Because your T skill will pretty much almost never crit, but right now it's kind of worth it to send it in that crit window, because until you get your bracelets, you kind of need that little bit of extra crit just helps, and you just gamble like like a 30% and hope that it hits.
Yeah. Something is better than nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's just an important thing. This is kind of like going to be legacy. Like in a month, it won't really matter to do this. But for right now, it does help to like just send that skill immediately after your blue skills, so that way you have that crit buff to like hit it. You know what I
Bro,
mean?
that's gonna mess up in my head when I transition because I've been so used to the whole rotation and now
It's so fucked too because yeah, exactly. Like you're crit buffing your red.
yeah.
You're also switching where now you start with what you used to end with.
Right.
You know
Oh
what I mean?
my
Like every
god.
button is different. Like
Yeah.
you're using Starfall is now your last ability.
Ah.
Red Dragon 20 is your second. This becomes your second party after Starfall or after Red Dragon. It's very weird, but it does a lot of damage.
Indeed. Yeah, bro, these changes so much from all the classes that I have done,
Yeah,
guys. What
it's
the
it's a
fuck?
lot different.
This is insane, dude.
It's a bit of a mind fuck, but it's a little spell
This
too.
rotation looks so bad. Is there no other way? Yeah, there. What I hate it, guys.
I mean, you could still like it. You could, if you really want to like not
Yeah.
change it too much, you always have to open with this. Like at the very beginning of a fight, you have to buff yourself, right? But then if you don't feel like you could just do this. The only reason you send the forehead first is because the cooldown of it is so low that like by the time the next rotation is up, like
Yeah.
when you do your stuff, you have it up again. So it's kind of like think of the rotation as one long thing and it's not separate, right? So like your full red blue rotation, you get to open and close the rotation with forehead, so you get two of them in a full rotation opposed to just only getting one. So that's why you like open with it. And also what's going to happen a lot too, because it happened to me, is you're going to accidentally buff it because you're just used to buffing your highest damage skill,
Right.
right? And you're used to your first skill being Red Dragon Horn, which means you're
Yeah.
going to accidentally do stuff like this where
Oh
you buff
my
forehead.
god,
Because
bro, this
forehead is still
is
not a
insane.
high damage skill. It's just like to min-max it.
You know what they give me the feeling of, and I haven't even transitioned. It's like playing a blue gun lancer, and having the dash forward, and then having alts that have the dash backwards. You know,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
pretty much
It's
kind of
something
like.
that is yeah, you've been doing the same thing for so long and it's inverting everything. So it just fucks with your brain completely. I
Yeah.
totally get it. It was really hard to switch when I swapped over for the first time. But I'm telling you, this rotation is like 1,000 times better. It's not even just the damage of it, but just the
How it
feeling of it.
feels,
Because if
right?
you like, yeah, like if
Yeah.
you like pressing buttons, there's less like doing nothing. You know what I mean? There's like way less of like you're not doing anything. There's no keeping up adrenaline stacks, which is nice because Glaive isn't really good at keeping up adrenaline stacks. She's not bad at it, but she's also not the best. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you just let if the boss leaves or is doing something, you just let your stuff expire. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The only pain in the ass thing about this build is just meter management. Because like if I could hold on, let me get out and come back in. I want to show you guys what it looks like when you have no meter. You actually are tight on meter. So if anything misses in the first rotation, again, this is a 1680 only thing but I mean, if everyone's going to get there eventually, or I guess
Right.
1670 as well, because you're going to get the bracelets. Like even with just this amount of meter, here, let's actually like burn it down. Okay, so let's say I'm at 0 meter. Okay, I just realized I could have just done this before. I'm kind of stupid. All right, so I'm going into a boss, 0 meter consumed. Right, like you actually have to land this whole thing. You have to land this, and then you have to land this into this. Okay, this is kind of a bad example because usually you're going to have more than that, and then you could buff yourself. But you see how
Damn.
like
Yeah. You got.
disparage I am on meter? It's actually, and then that's why you do this, and then you buff. You see?
Right.
And eventually see the second rotation, then we're chilling, right? Then we do this.
Yeah. You got sharp.
But like that first rotation is a little fucked. And if you ever get into a situation where the boss like leaves for whatever reason, then you're back at square one where it's like if you missed something big, you kind of have to like pay attention. Most of the time it doesn't really matter. It really does manage itself. It's not as bad as it seems.
That's nice.
But like
actually.
that, yeah, it's fast. And imagine this is like it
Really
actually is like
that's
very
really good,
smooth.
Yeah.
Like see how everything like lines up really perfectly.
Everything
Like
is nice. Yeah.
that's why I like this rotation. Look, and then you go back. Like it's very smooth, right? So
some of you probably don't know what's happening, but when you play a class and everything lines up, even if it has like 1 second to spare for your GCD global cooldowns, it's great. Most of the classes you have to wait a little bit, right? Because unless you're like a Deadblade or something like that, or reader, you never stop or Arcana. But most classes have like a 1-2 seconds delay, right?
Yeah,
it will be too broken. Like those classes that I mentioned.
Like even if I show you, I can show the old rotation with the actual tripods. You actually have so much, like the other rotation, you have so much downtime in it. It's like
the CD lining up is golden.
Yeah, it's actually really, really nice. What is the other things I have to change? This into Blade Tornado, and then final. So if you're doing spec crit, this is what you're. Oh no, I already do this. It messes with your head, dude. I'm telling you,
Yeah, I'm bro.
it's so weird.
I gotta look at it like 100 times before I try.
Look at this. So this rotation, it's like, again, I'm slower than I should be because I don't have yearning and stuff on. But like usually you're waiting like 5-6 seconds, whereas the other rotation you have like maybe a couple seconds on time. You know,
Yes.
it's a lot faster.
Yeah, bro, that's insane, bro. What the? I think from
Yeah,
all
it's a lot
the
better.
all the guys that have done, guys, this is the one that has changed the most, 100%.
Really, a lot of. I guess I haven't. The thing is, I
Yes.
haven't played a ton of classes at 1680.
Yes, bro. Yes.
But most of my other classes, even when they went into arc passives, they all stayed the exact same. But
Yeah,
Glaive
pretty
is like
much, pretty
a complete
much.
facelift.
This
Are you
should
running
be insane.
mana because you're managing adrenaline stacks? I'm gonna be honest. I swapped to spec Swift almost immediately. I'm not 100% like sure how the spec crit build feels at like a high level with like if you're taking MP furnace and stuff and having to manage your mana. Like I didn't really mess with it because the second I saw the spec Swift build and I was back on guaranteed tripods, and then I saw how strong blunt spike is. Like a lot of the fourth line stuff is pretty good, but blunt thorn is like
Probably the strongest.
really strong. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's insane.
If you
The
can
thing is though, it's
min-max it.
also the most gamba. Like
Right.
you're gonna have, because it caps out your crit rate. You're technically at 120, but you're capped at 80. So like you can have like really bad pulls.
Right. And just white numbers.
Yeah, like if that 20% lands permanently on Red Dragonhorn and your T, like I mean, it is what it is,
It's
bro. Like
it's over.
yeah, it's just bad. Like you know what I mean. So it's
Yeah.
but I don't know. I think this build is just it feels much
That's
smoother. It's much smoother.
Anybody has any question, guys? Bro, like, I'm speechless because this is the thing. Like, I play at 1640, so seeing this class of 1680 and how they evolve, I get like excited, bro.
With arc passes, even I'm pretty sure you'll be able to play. I don't know how much Evo points they're giving out with like when they do the arc passes for everybody, but like even for when you're putting this together, where is this? Like early on, your stuff could look like this. Like you could just look like.
You explained it very well, indeed, my lord.
Like,
it did.
Also, did you want me to go over like progressively how your arc passives will look as you active? It's hard to say because that's going to be like old fast, but I can go over like how your arc passes will look with each piece of gear that you get, if that's good for
but remember, we're gonna get the, like, let's say for example, if we do get the our passive thing, we are gonna have how many points? Like
we're getting it latest February, and more than likely we're gonna be getting it in January.
Damn.
Because I can't imagine, like it's just like dead info essentially. But in case you guys are low, I don't know how many points they're gonna give us in Evo points.
Right.
But let's say like you don't have the full 120 right away. Your arc passives can look like this. Like this is fine, right? If you the only time you cannot play the spec Swift is if you don't have this node. If you don't have this node, do not play spec Swift. You're going to be trolling. But as long as they let you get to the bottom, yeah, this is fine. Like this setup is completely fine. You're chilling like this, which only takes 3 pieces. If you guys are doing A gear like right now, 3 pieces you can get down here. You just need level 69 and then 3 pieces.
Interesting.
He explained it very well, guys. By the way, and also for the YouTube gang, for all the people out there in Mr. 4K's YouTube, I apologize if it's a little bit everywhere. This is just how I am.
No, it's all right. Just go back and forth for more views.
If you guys also have any questions, guys, on the YouTube part of it, I'll try to remember to do this. I'm kind of bad with stuff sometimes, but I will check the comments and try to answer some questions if you guys do have any questions. I'll keep an eye on Mr. 4K's video to also like answer some questions if you guys have any in the YouTube space.
That's perfect. Well, thank you so much. Much love, bro, and thank you for the collaboration. And you can come with me on anything. You know how it is.
Of course. Same to you, man. Mr. 4K, I appreciate the invite, and I appreciate doing this. I think this is a really cool idea, like taking a bunch of Western creators and doing like class guides with them and stuff. So I know I've done stuff like this before. I know it's hard to organize a bunch of streamers. So I appreciate it, man, because it's a lot of hard work to do this. I know it's very, very hard.
Well, much love, Papi, and thank you, and thank you for your chat too.
Take care, man. Everyone's say bye to Mr. 4K. Goodbye, Mr. 4K.
Take care. Bye, guys. All right, GG, boss. Yeah, look good. I don't know about the share thing. He probably can do it, right? He can do it. I'm pretty sure he can do the share thing. I don't know how to do the own share thing. But thank you guys so much. Well, Cauttyh is a legend, right? That's pretty well. Well explained. Bro, what the fuck? That class changes so much. Dude, what the fuck? Damn, that's how you play it, Bills? That you play the sweetness one? Jesus Christ, qué poderoso. Damn. They slap at 1680, indeed, my lord. But I didn't know that the rotation changes so much. It actually changes a lot, bro. Because like he said, you have to do everything backwards. And your brain is already wired to do something, and then you're like, oh,